The smell hit me before the alarm did. That particular sweetness, faint, almost like a gas range left on a fraction too long. I'd learned to recognize it in a converted machine shop in Kandahar, where a bad fuel line could clear a building faster than a firefight. I was pushing my cart down the east corridor of Millhaven Elementary, pulling a dead fluorescent tube from the fixture above the fourth-grade door, when the smell reached me and my hands went still. 2 seconds later, every alarm in the building screamed at once. I've thought about those 2 seconds a lot since. Most people hear the alarm and then they react. I'd already set down the tube, already turned for the utility corridor, before the sound even registered. My daughter Rosie's class was room 14, West Wing, 2nd grade. Mrs. Kaufman ran the tightest ship in the building. I'd watched her walk those kids out in a fire drill in under 40 seconds. I knew Rosie would be fine. That's what I told myself as I moved against the flow of teachers and children streaming toward the rear exit. Rosie would be fine. Mrs. Kaufman had her. Go do what you were made to do. The utility corridor ran parallel to the main east hallway, boiler access, electrical panels, the old janitor's closet that smelled like floor wax in decades. I knew every foot of it. I had a master key clipped to my belt loop. I had a first aid kit in the cart, a pair of nitrile gloves in my back pocket that I kept there from habit, and 31 years of knowing what to do when a building goes wrong. I turned the corner into the utility corridor and nearly stepped on her. She was curled against the base of the electrical panel, maybe 6 years old, 1st grade by the look of her, dark braids, a yellow shirt with a cartoon sun on the pocket. Her right arm was pressed against her side at an angle that told me everything. She'd been running, she'd fallen, and she'd come in here because it was the closest door, and she was frightened and small. The corridor was already thickening with the faint sweetness of the leak. I crouched down slowly, the way I'd learned to approach a child in a war zone. No sudden movements, no looming. Get your eyes level with theirs. Hey, I said. My name's Mr. Hank. I fix the lights in this school. She looked at me. Her face was wet and her breathing was short, which told me the collarbone, left side, the way she was protecting it. But her eyes were tracking. Her color was okay, and she wasn't going into shock. Not yet. I hurt my arm, she said. I know, I can see that. What's your name? Maya. Maya. Okay, Maya. I'm going to help you. Can you take a slow breath with me? She did. Kids are remarkable that way. They'll follow a calm voice even when everything around them is noise and alarm. 31 years ago, in a village outside Kandahar, a little girl not much bigger than Maya had done the same thing. Followed my voice, breathed with me, stayed with me until the medevac landed. That was my last mission. The one I told myself, driving home from the airport with my hands shaking on the wheel, was the last time I would do that to myself or to my daughter. I pulled on the nitrile gloves and knelt beside Maya and talked to her the entire time I was working. Not about what I was doing, about the cartoon sun on her shirt, about her teacher's name, about what she had for breakfast. Distraction is a medic's first tool. I checked her pupils with the pen light on my key ring. I stabilized her left arm against her torso using the sleeve of my own work shirt, which I stripped off my left arm and tied gently. The collarbone was fractured. Not displaced, not dangerous if she didn't move it. But she needed a paramedic, and she needed air that wasn't getting sweeter by the minute. I got my radio off my cart and keyed the channel the school used for facilities. Nothing. Either the alarm had knocked the repeater, or the channel was saturated. I got my phone. No signal in the corridor. The electrical panel housing was solid steel on 3 sides. I looked at Maya. Okay, I said. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to lift you very carefully, and we're going to walk toward the door at the end of this hallway. I need you to keep your arm right here, pressed to your side, just like that. Can you do that? Is my mom outside? Your mom is going to be right outside waiting for you, I promise. I carried her the length of the utility corridor with her good arm around my neck and my right hand flat under her, and I pushed the crash bar on the exit door with my hip, and we came out into the light. The rear parking lot of Millhaven Elementary looks like a county fairground on evacuation days. 240 kids, maybe 150 parents who'd arrived in the first 10 minutes, 3 fire trucks, and a pair of ambulances already rolling in through the service entrance. I could see the hazmat unit from the county rolling up the service road. I could hear teachers calling roll. I was maybe 15 steps from the nearest paramedic when a woman's voice tore through the crowd. That's not her teacher. That man is not a teacher. He came out of a side door. Somebody stop him. Her name was Diane, though I didn't know it then. She'd arrived at the lot 60 seconds before I came through the door, and she had not seen Maya's class come out. And she was operating on pure terror, which is the most honest fear a person can feel. I don't hold a single word of it against her. 2 officers converged on me from different angles. Officer Breck got there first. Young, maybe 26, and he had his hand on my arm before I'd finished the first sentence. "Sir, I need you to put the child down." "She has a fractured left collarbone," I said. "I've stabilized it, but she needs a paramedic. If you put her on the ground, she's going to move it." "Sir, put her down and step back now." I looked at him steadily. "The paramedics are right there," I said. "Walk with me 15 steps and hand her to them yourself. Then I'll answer every question you have." He was good. He made the right call. He walked with me, and the paramedic took Maya from my arms with both hands, and I stepped back, and I put my hands where Breck could see them. "Okay," I said. "Ask me what you need to ask." He was thorough. He was professional. He put me in handcuffs, loose, hands in front, which told me he was paying attention, and he walked me toward his cruiser away from the crowd, which was the right instinct. Keep the situation contained. Keep the scared people from seeing something they'd interpret wrong. Diane followed us, screaming at the officers that I had taken her daughter, that I had carried her out of a side door, that nobody had seen me with a class. Breck told her twice, calmly, that Maya was with the paramedics and that she could go to her daughter right now. She didn't move. I didn't say anything. I'd learned a long time ago that the fastest way through a situation like this is to stay quiet and let the process work. Breck sat me in the back of the cruiser, door open, feet on the ground, and he went through my pockets. He found my phone, my key ring, my work ID from Millhaven Elementary, which read Hank Duvain. Facilities, with my photograph and the school district seal. He looked at it for a moment. Then he found my wallet. He opened it the way you open something you're not sure about. Slowly, readings as he went. The first thing in the front window was a photograph. Rosie, 7 years old, in her blue school dress, standing on our front porch on the first day of 2nd grade, squinting into the morning sun and grinning. He looked at it. He looked at me. "Your daughter?" he said. "2nd grade, room 14, Mrs. Kaufman." He kept going. Behind the photo, folded twice, was a laminated card. Army green border, the seal of the 75th Ranger Regiment, and below that in plain block type the commendation summary. Staff Sergeant Henry D. Duvain, Special Operations Combat Medic. 3 deployments, 14 lives confirmed saved in the field. And at the bottom, the line that my commanding officer had read aloud at the ceremony while I stood at attention and tried not to think about the little girl in Kandahar, the one I'd carried out of the smoke. Distinguished Service Medal, awarded with the gratitude of this nation. Breck read it twice. Then he read the dog tags, which I keep folded behind the card. He turned them over in his hand. He looked at the school ID again. He looked at me. The staging area was 40 feet away. The crowd of parents and teachers was loud and shifting. And then through it, moving fast, came a small shape in a blue dress. Rosie, my daughter, who had spotted my work shirt and my cart near the east wing door and had pulled free of Mrs. Kaufman's hand and was running through the parking lot with her sneakers slapping the asphalt. She hit me at full speed and buried her face in my collar, and I got my cuffed hands around her as best I could. "Dad," she said. And that was all she said. Officer Breck stood very still. Diane had gone quiet behind him. At some point, while he was reading the card, she'd gotten the news from the paramedics. Maya had a clean fracture. No displacement. She was alert and talking. She'd be fine. She was standing 10 feet away. And she was looking at me the way you look at something when you realize you have been seeing it exactly wrong. Breck turned to his partner, who had come up behind him. He held out the commendation card. His partner read it, looked at me, looked at Breck. Breck reached over and took the cuffs off. He set them on the roof of the cruiser. He folded the card carefully and put it back where he'd found it and handed me the wallet. He said, "I'm sorry for the delay, sir. You did your job right," I said. "You kept it contained. That's what you're supposed to do." He stood there for a moment, and then he straightened up and he saluted me. Not sharp and stiff the way they do it in parades, but the real version, the one that means something, the one I'd seen officers give old soldiers at ceremonies when they thought no one was watching. I gave him a small nod. Diane took 2 steps toward me. She was still crying, but the terror was gone out of it. She reached out and put both her hands around my right hand, the one with the glove still on it, the one that had held her daughter's good arm against my chest, for the length of a dark corridor. She didn't say anything. She held on for a moment, and then she let go and walked back toward the ambulance where Maya was. Rosie was still pressed against me. I could feel her heart going fast. "You okay, Bug?" I said. "Mrs. Kaufman counted, and you weren't in line," she said into my collar. "She told me you were probably fixing something." "I was," I said. She pulled back and looked at my arm, the stripped sleeve still tied, the gloves. And her face went very serious the way it does when she's deciding whether to be scared. "Did you help somebody?" I smoothed her braid back the way her mother used to do, the gesture I'd been doing since she was 4 days old, the one I never got right and kept trying. "A little girl in a yellow shirt," I said. "She's okay." Rosie considered this with the gravity of a second grader who knows more than she lets on. "Like your last mission," she said. I looked at her. She'd heard me use that phrase once, a long time ago, when she'd asked why I'd left the army and come home. I'd told her, because my last mission was to take care of her. I hadn't known she'd held on to it. "Yeah," I said. "Like that." She nodded once, satisfied, and slipped her hand into mine. Around us the lot was settling. The hazmat crew had capped the line. The fire trucks were standing down. Teachers were walking classes back toward the building entrance. Breck was writing in his notebook. The paramedics had Maya on a gurney, her mother beside her, and even from 40 feet I could see Maya's hand reaching up toward her mom. I picked up my cart from where I'd left it near the east wing door. I checked the dead fluorescent tube was still in the bag, unbroken. I'd need to finish the east corridor fixtures before afternoon pickup. That's the thing about this job. The building doesn't wait. The lights don't fix themselves. And at 2:50 every weekday, my daughter comes through the west wing door looking for my cart because she knows that's where I'll be. I put my gloves in the trash by the loading dock. I put my key ring back on my belt loop. I took the laminated card out of my wallet and looked at it for a second. The seal, the block type, the line at the bottom, and then I put it away. 14 lives. And one more today, in a yellow shirt. I pushed the cart back toward the east corridor and went to fix the lights.